Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hi, everyone. This is Meg.
Hi there. This is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So, Heather, what are we popping open today?
We are going to pop open one of the emotional aromatherapy kit oils. So we are going to pop open Forgive today. I like this one.
I'm curious, do you always like this one or do you like this one today?
You know, I don't mind this one often. This is not one that I often go for. We go for when we need to forgive.
Yeah.
But I like it. I don't think I have anything against it. What about you?
I like this one today. So I don't ever dislike this one, but I think sometimes it just smells too like ground, dirt, trees, and just not like balance where it's also got the sweet aroma.
Right.
But today I smell that stuff, but it smells really good, which probably tells me I need some support with forgiving.
Well, and I can't quite identify what oil I smell the most. I guess I smell ground, but it smells softer than just ground by itself. Mm-hmm. Let me read this list because I think that there's a couple in here that are quite strong smelling. And after I read the list, I'm like, oh yeah, I smell one of these specifically, but only because I read the list. Okay, so the main ingredients are spruce, bergamot, juniper berry, distilled lemon, myrrh, arbor vitae, nutka, thyme, and citronella. So I don't know what nutka is or how that smells, but wow, juniper berry, thyme, citronella, those are all very specific smells. Arbor vitae is a strong smell. Bergamot is a strong smell by itself.
Well, I think spruce is too.
Yes, it doesn't say which spruce, so I'm not sure which one that is. I don't know if it's the distilled lemon that kind of calms it down a little bit, or if it's the bergamot, because there is a hint of citrus in there with that ground smell. But now that I've read the ingredient list, I feel like I smell the citronella the most, even though it's the last ingredient.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I think I smell the arbor vitae the most.
Oh, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So side note, Magnus, my husband, recently listened to the Arbor Vitae podcast, and he liked how we talked about how it like smelled like a wood shop and, manly man. So now that's his new daily cologne.
Oh, that's hilarious. But awesome.
Yeah.
So as a reminder to our listeners, you can always go back and listen to some of our other podcasts. I don't know if you figured this out, dear listener, but we do these kind of in alphabetical order. So right now we're in the Fs. So if you have a question about an oil that was in the alphabet before the letter F, we've probably done a podcast on it.
So back to Forgive. Okay, so as stated, I tend to offer this one to the kids more than I offer it to myself. I have used it before. Somebody's arguing with somebody else. Fine, the argument's finally over. Somebody's having a hard time getting over it. Put some Forgive on. And I will walk over to the oils and apply it to myself if I'm having trouble forgiving someone else. However, on doTERRA's website, I read this morning, and I absolutely loved what they wrote about it. And I think I will try to use this more often on myself as well, because it says the process of forgiveness can be hard and sometimes it can take a long time. Forgiving yourself can be even more difficult. If you've been carrying a burden for a while, today might be the day for you to start letting go of the hurt and anger. Wow.
So good.
Yes. I feel like I am terrible about holding grudges towards others. And so again, I'll use forgive and say my prayers and just kind of try to move past it. But how often do we not forgive ourselves?
Yeah. Often. Very often, sadly. Yeah. A lot of us walk around with guilt and shame for things that it's not serving us, It's much better to emote that emotion. So get it out of your body, but also then forgive yourself for whatever it is that you're holding on to the guilt and shame. So yeah, wow. So powerful.
It is.
So I am curious, as you were saying all that, and like even with the kids, where do you recommend that people apply this oil?
So this, we have the roller bottle one, the diluted one. It does come in a regular undiluted bottle, and then we have the roller one. This is for aromatic. If you've got the undiluted, because we have the roller, I roll right on wrist and then take a big whiff.
Yeah. Yeah. I have done it on my wrist for sure, but I really like putting it over my heart as well. And so that way it kind of becomes a natural diffuser as well, because, obviously that's kind of under your heart. But there's something I feel like with the emotion oils for me, when I put it over my heart, I feel like it's connected to my emotional center as well. I've done no research on that. I don't know if that's a thing, but it makes sense to me in my mind. And maybe it's just even the intentionality of like, this is my heart, this is emotion. Let's combine the two. And I have had experiences where I was upset about something and I've used this oil and I felt like I didn't necessarily, like it didn't shift my anger or whatever, but it shifted my ability to manage the anger, which is really cool, or to like move past it. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this before too. I think a lot of people question how essential oils help with emotions. And for me, I think that when I'm in the middle of an emotion and I'm struggling to process that emotion, pausing and going and choosing an oil that resonates with me for whatever that emotion is, applying that oil, taking deep breaths with that oil. When you think about the time frame that played out from whatever emotion it was, now I've had some downtime. I've taken some breaths. I've been able to just kind of step away for a second. So for me, I feel like it's that automatic break that it causes you to take as well. You have to walk away to apply it.
Right.
You automatically go to smell it. So it forces that in a positive way. And so to me, that is how it definitely triggers helping me with my emotions.
Yeah. Well, and that totally reminded me of one of my favorite parenting tips I ever heard about. Actually, somebody in our upline, she has, I think, 5 kids, a lot of kids. And when she started out in doTERRA, her kids were pretty young, but she said that she had a box of oils that was in the spot where the kids had to go for timeout. And she would send them to timeout and tell them to spend that time picking the oil to help them get over like whatever it was. And I think this was before they had the emotion oils, but still, like, I love that like the kids technically were active with something. So timeout is a little bit better, but they also are in the process of learning to follow their intuition, to use oils, to do exactly what you said, to like step away, deal with the emotion, all of that. So
yes, I like that too. And we use that technique as well. And for stuff like this, if I recognize that they're having a hard time forgiving and moving past, I will suggest a certain oil. But there are times where I can see they're just struggling with whatever emotion that they're struggling with. And I'll say, is there an oil that you would like to apply to help you feel better? And hands down, my daughter goes for wild orange and lavender every time.
Yeah. So cool. So cool. All right. Well, besides the emotional support that this oil provides, it was interesting to see that you could use it for a few different things. And I always love tips like this, because if you're out and about and you need something and you're like, man, all I have is emotional support, but I suddenly have a bug bite. Apparently, Forgive can be used for an insect repellent.
Well, it's got that citronella in there and arbor vitae.
True.
So it's got a couple of oils in there that are already for insect repellents to begin with. So yeah, I think that is a good point. When you've got blends like this, okay, I need something at the time that I don't have that, but it's in a blend, so I can just use that blend. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it also helps with critical thinking, which seems random, but maybe that is also like removing, issues and things that might be taking up your thought process, so that now you can kind of move those out of the way and now critically think. Circulation. So just this oil has a lot of different uses besides emotion, but obviously the big ones is emotion. I think what most people are using it for is emotional support. But I really like this oil. I'm so glad that doTERRA has, this whole kit of different oils just to help with emotions.
I agree. And one other fun fact, this is out of the Advanced Oil Magic book, but this is called the Renewing Blend. And two of the oils that are in this blend are from sustainable harvesting in British Columbia. And the oils are procured from sawdust residue so that not one extra tree is cut down, and even the pulp is recycled into paper. So when you think about renewing and how it's a completely sustainable harvesting source, I absolutely love little facts like that too.
That's so cool. And I didn't even think about it being the renewing blend and how that ties into this. But yeah, that's really amazing. All right. Anything else about this oil?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay. Well, we hope that you have learned something new about Forgive and want to use it. Highly recommend having this oil either in the roller version or just in the regular oil version so that you could put it in diffusers and help, everybody in your household forgive. I feel like therapists maybe should use this as a way to help people work through things as well. So yeah, really amazing oil. Also want to remind you that every third Thursday of the month, we have our free Ask Us Anything Zoom class. So if you want to join us for that, the link is in the description of this, or you can sign up for it through our website, bottlepoppinpodcast.com, or through our social media, again, Bottle Poppin' Podcast. We'd love to connect with you that way. So please join us. All right. Well, have a great week, and we will be back next Friday with a brand new episode for you.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.